Welcome back, everybody, to Rock Resurgence Radio. My name is Chad, the host, and today's show we have a special guest all the way from Georgia. It's my high school friend and fellow music lover, Cindy Peterson. How are
Hi,
you doing?
Chad.
Hey, how's it going?
It's great. The hot weather's starting.
Oh my God, no, I don't think I could take it. My brother lived in Florida for a while, and that goddamn humidity is hard on a fat kid. So
Yeah, it takes some getting used to.
yeah. So yeah, Cindy and I go way back. We graduated high school together. We've known each other forever. So I thought, you know what? I know somebody who likes music, and I said, I wonder if she'd want to do this with me since Chris isn't doing it with me. And I hit her up, and she says, sure, why not? And as you can see, her background's a little we struggled with that. We're neither one of us are computer geniuses, so we don't have Chris here. So, but it still looks pretty cool. Um, what do you got in the works, Cindy? What are you doing? What do you got? Anything you want to plug, push? Anything you're doing that we should let the guys and girls know about?
Yeah, well, I left North Dakota about 3 years ago. Turned into a nomadic minimalist. Basically, I left with only my clothes, some shoes, and some toiletries. I donated everything or sold everything or threw it in the trash. So a lifetime of possessions gone, just me, myself, and I put some things in my brother's house, important documents, family photos, stuff like that, but really didn't bring a whole lot. And I've been health coaching the last 5 years. So if anybody wants to get healthy through nutrition, I'm the one to contact. And I just started. I'm really excited about this with a publishing house company, Dudley Publishing. And I basically act as an agent for somebody who wants to write books. I firmly believe that everybody has a story to tell. They have a zone of genius, just like you with your music. Or not everybody, but a lot of people have an imagination for fiction. So I do believe that everybody has something to say, and which we're going to say today. We have plenty to say about music. And if writing isn't your zone of genius, we do have ghostwriters who can help make you look good.
Cool, cool, cool. Well, that's an idea. Um, yeah, and after the show, I'll have you send me like a link or whatever to your publishing thing or how they can get a hold of you if they want to do that. I'll put that in the comments. So be sure to check that out if you are a potential author and want to get something published. Talk to Cindy; she will help you out. Um, I gotta say something before we get started. You can notice that she's got some really awesome tattoos. We got to check those out. She's got the entire Motley crew. So there you go. You got Nikki and Tommy, and then you got Mick and Vince, a huge Motley Crue fan. And then she's got Troy Aikman on her and her baby Puck. So she's got some really cool tats, and thought I better show those off because we know where it's at with the Motley Crue. We were both big, huge Motley Crue fans back in the day. I got a Crue fan. I got my Theater Pain. Not my favorite album, but I thought it was the coolest artwork that they had on an album. So I was like, that's cool. I'm gonna put that on my arm. Yep. So, anyways, so we are going to talk about the year 1987 and the top songs that came out that year, in our opinion. Um, should be a fun episode. We're gonna talk about each song. Maybe have a little more knowledge on some and a little less on others. But without further ado, why don't we get started? We'll start with you, Cindy, and your number 10.
Well, it was so fun. First of all, thank you for bringing me on. And it was so fun just researching what songs were released. And surprisingly, a lot of my favorite bands didn't release in that year. I'm looking up like Faster Pussycat, Black and Blue, and I'm like, crap, crap, crap. Like they were so great. And lots of others too, Rat Poison, all them. They didn't release albums that year. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. And then I looked at some of the albums that were released and I'm like, whoa, like they go on like the greatest albums ever. So, um, So I did put Dream Evil by Dio, Ronnie James Dio, and I saw that Dio released an album that year, and his prior albums were more my favorite with the songs on there. But still, it's Dio and Dream Evil. That is a really good song. It's typical Dio music. He hits it home every single time, and it's like I need to put Dio on my list. So it's Dream Evil by Dio.
Awesome. Great pick. Oh, I was going to show you this. You can do this and you'll get a little thumb up like that. So awesome pick. Yeah, me too. I never really got into Dio good. I love his voice. He's got awesome. He came out with this, which is cool. Um, and I'm more into the We Rock, Last in Line, and there's a couple other ones that I really like. So, but I did take a listen to that because Cindy had it on her list, and it was a damn good song. I like it. So we'll move on. Mine comes in. Oh, well, she happens to have a tattoo of the whole band on her arm. I picked Girls, Girls, Girls from Motley Crue. That album came out that year. I remember it very well. Very good album, all in all. But it's one of those ones that I've overplayed it. Like the first, through Dr. Feelgood, I kind of overplayed them. But for some reason, I still dig the first and second album the most. But Girls, 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 the song is catchy. It's got the guitar, the Harley at the beginning, sounds freaking awesome. Um, uh, they're talking about strip clubs, so all the strippers were happy. They had a song to dance to now. This song, let's see, talks about the body shop, the Seventh Veil Marble Arch, the dollhouse in Fort Lauderdale, and all
The
that
Menage a Trois.
menage a trois. And no, it was just a great song and fun song. I mean, there's several songs on there I could have picked, and you may hear another song from that album come up later. Just saying. But anyways, I picked Motley Crue. They were one of my favorites back in the day, and I got to show them a little love. So I picked Girls, Girls, Girls at number 10. So with that, we'll move on to number 9 for Cindy.
I need to say something about the girls, girls, girls pick. Um,
Absolutely.
you remember me, you, your wife, and a couple of her friends. We traveled to Winnipeg for that concert and met up with my cousin Mitch Munson and his friends. The girls tour was a long wait because Vince had legal issues with that accident. No, that was Theater of Pain, but still, Theater of Pain, not such a good album, followed by Girls, Girls, Girls. We go to Winnipeg to the concert.
Yes, yes, we did. Yep. And I don't know what it was, 20 years later, we saw him at the fair. So yeah, it's pretty cool. Don and I have gone to them a few times, so you'd probably say it's one of our favorite bands that we've seen together. So cool, cool, cool. Okay, number 9. Jeez Louise.
I picked Chop 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 by Alice Cooper. When I saw Alice Cooper had one of his albums released, it's kind of like the Dio. It's like I love Alice Cooper. I've seen him in concert 3 times, I think. And Chop 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 is not going to be somebody's favorite song, perhaps. It was kind of more of a filler, but I think it's just kind of catchy. And at the time when I bought that album and got into that, and I listened to that album quite a bit at the time, I was starting to be a part time sports writer. And my editor would say, "Okay, Cindy, you got 10 minutes left, chop, chop, chop." And then that song came out, Chop, Chop, Chop. So it just kind of brings back some fond memories.
Oh, that's cool. I never knew that, but yeah, I saw this on our list, and we were talking a little bit beforehand, and I kind of fell off the Alice Cooper train when the Trash album came out because it was such a big hit that everybody wanted. All of a sudden, everybody's an Alice Cooper fan, and they want to hear Poison. And ever since then, I just kind of dropped the Alice Cooper thing. But he is awesome live. I've seen him a couple different times. First time I saw him, he Tesla opened up for him on the Constrictor tour, and I saw that down in Bismarck, and I just the show was phenomenal. I couldn't believe the stuff he was doing that, I mean, it's like a magic theater show um at the same time. So it's really cool. So if you haven't seen him, and he's got to be pushing 80, and he's still out there doing it. So if you get a chance, go see him live. It's definitely worth the show.
Yeah, his theatrics are amazing.
No kidding. Um, he is just great in concert. But as far as kind of following at him as because I was on board in Constrictor, and um, there was a couple other ones before that, but that I can't think of off the top of my head. But that was the one where I actually got into him because I seen him live, and I was like, holy shit, this guy's good. Old as dirt, but and he was old. He seemed old back then. So, anyways, but yeah, no, I like some of his stuff, and maybe I'll get back into it now that it's been 40 years since Trash came out. I don't know if it's been 40, but whatever. So maybe I'll rejoin that. But I did like that song. I hadn't heard it. That one I hadn't paid attention to, or maybe I'd heard it but just didn't remember it. But I was like, this is pretty rocking. I like it. So good pick. Good pick. Number 9 for me comes from a band called Manowar, and the song I picked is "Carry On." There's a couple different ones I wanted to pick on this album. Like I could have picked "Blow Your Speakers" or I could have picked "Fighting the World," but I'm saving those songs for. I got a future episode in mind where I'm going to talk about one of those songs for sure. Um, so I picked "Carrying On," which is a great song. Myself, Carl Nomvig, and Jamie Rieger got into this album a lot, like a lot. Like we jam this all the time, and it's kind of cool. If you haven't heard Manowar, they're from the U.S., but they kind of sing of I will say medieval times, but I can't because I can't think of the term for it, like the Norse, when the Vikings were coming up and all that stuff. So they talk about swords and the king and kill the king and all this kind of stuff. And their words are pretty cool. The guy can hit the notes. It's unreal. Um, I'm just going to read one of the verses that I thought was pretty cool. It's darkness all around us. We don't close our eyes. No one's going to ground us. We were born to fly, coming at us, no stopping, born to amplify. And then it goes into this "carry on, my sons forever." It's just, it's one of those like, oh, it just pumps you up songs. So if you haven't heard Manowar, give those guys a try. They're pretty cool. Great guitar, great bass, and the singer can just hit the notes like nobody's business. So give them a try.
Yeah, I'm surprised, like metalheads like us, we used to listen to Manowar, and I'm surprised they didn't take off a little bit more. I feel that they're very underrated.
Very,
And do they kind of remind you of Saxon a little bit, or am I off base there?
maybe a little heavier to me than Saxon. Like they're like, I don't know. I didn't listen to a lot of Saxon. I think I had two of their albums, and I can't even remember what they are because I'm sure. Well, at one time I had gone to a party, your place in Minot, and I fell asleep in my car. Do you remember this?
Vaguely, we got to remember there was a lot of alcohol involved
Oh
back
God,
then.
I know I lived my life in an alcoholic haze back then. But anyways, it was so crowded in your place. I was like, fuck this. I'm gonna go sleep in my car. So I fell asleep at little Honda Accord. I left my window down, 4 inches, left the car running. I wake up the next morning, 60 of my cassettes all gone. Poof. So while I was passed out in my car, somebody reached in, unlocked the door, didn't wake my ass up, and stole my cassettes out of the car. And it could have been in those. So that's happened to me. That sucked. Larry Delmare was with me. So yeah, it wasn't a very good trip. That was a costly party, but shit happens. So anyways,
I
um,
would be PO'd about that.
I was PO'd. But the worst part about it is, what happened in mine. I don't really know anybody in mine at that time, um, other than you guys. or the people that I know from back home or whatever. So it could have been anybody. It's a big enough town where somebody drives by, sees a car running, like, look at this dipshit, you know, it's my own damn fault. So, anyways, we'll keep her moving. Number 8 for you, Cindy.
Well, I was just saying that I thought Manowar was
Yeah, I'm
very
sorry.
underrated. Um, so I put Everyone as a Star by TNT, and I thought TNT was very underrated. I had their first three albums and loved TNT. They're Norwegian or Swedish. I looked it up and now I can't remember, but their first album, my cousin Mitch had been over Norway and he brought me back a cassette from them as a present from Norway. And then I just kept buying their stuff. They took off a little bit here, but I thought they would be better, or take off better. But Everyone's a Star. It's very upbeat and like it's so positive. How can you not like Everyone's a Star? It's like, really, I'm a star. Like, I don't know. It's just positive and upbeat. They're just saying everyone's a star.
That's cool. Yeah, it's that's another one on your list that I was like, I remember having a TNT cassette back in the day, but it just never drew me in like other bands did. I did listen to this song and I thought it was pretty decent. And I've told Chris, my former co-host, had a couple songs by TNT on whatever episode we did, and I his voice for me just doesn't do it. It's too high or something. And then I just got done talking about a guy who can hit the high notes, but it was weird. He's got a really raspy voice, the guy from Manowar, and this guy's more clean sounding, and it's just I don't know. But I like Firehouse, and he's very high, so I don't know. There's something about it that doesn't drive me crazy or doesn't jump out and grab me, but I thought it was good, you know. So I would I gotta look at these bands differently. Another band, I'm just this totally off the subject, so we're kind of going I do this too. I go fucking off on a tangent. This reminds me of do you know the band Vane?
Yes, vaguely.
Yeah. So like this community of all us podcasters that are doing this, and we kind of have a little group text that we do. They're all huge Vane fans. And for some reason, it just doesn't catch me. And I've really, really tried with this band because they're so well respected in this thing. And I'm still trying to this day to like understand. I mean, I like it. It's decent, but I just, it's not catching me. It's not grabbing me and going, "Hey, this is fucking awesome." It's good, but it's not awesome to me. And everybody else says it's awesome. So I don't know. You got any of those bands that
Uh,
people?
one one of them, they were big in certain with certain people in certain sections, but UFO and Anthrax. I don't dislike them. I don't hate their music, but I just never got into them.
Yeah, it's weird how that works. Music's a funny thing. Each person's ear hears something different, and it might just be a little thing, but it just like kind of go or whatever. So yeah, it's weird. So and TNT is one of those bands for me. They're very good. I can tell by listening to them because I can hear that they have talent or whatever. Can you hear my dogs going nuts? Fucking dogs.
Sweetie.
Yeah, there. I got three of them right now because we're watching. Our niece is
Scout.
Scouty's up here too, so somebody must be home. So they're going nuts and pissing me off. Anyways, so you did number 8. Everyone's a Star, TNT. My number 8 is from a band called Wasp. And Cindy and I kind of talked about this. She made a comment like, well, I don't know if I should. That's kind of a cheesy way to get a song off a live album, but I thought about it and I said, oh shit, well, there's 2 or 3 new songs on that, and I said, so you could pick one of those, and she goes, I'll leave Wasp for you. So I said, hell yeah, I'm gonna do it, and I picked Harder Faster off of Live in the Raw, and I love this song. There's 2 other ones. Scream Until You Like It, which is on the Ghoulie soundtrack, and then Manimal. And Harder Faster, the reason I picked this is because of the shout out at the beginning. And he goes, "We're gonna sing this song. Some of you, you know, may have known about this organization called the PMRC. They think we are sexual perverts." He goes, "That's great coming from the Washington Wives. Sounds like sounds like a what did he say? Sounds like a Jackie Collins fucking novel to me." And then they kick into the song and it just kicks ass and it's like suck me, eat me raw. And I'm like, oh yeah, I love it. This is such a good song. And I hadn't listened to it in a long time. So I was like, oh man, I'm glad you brought that up because I just went back and I kind of dove into that album and it's such a good live album. So thanks for bringing that up. So that's my pick at number 8.
Yeah, Wasp. When I saw they had an album out, I'm like, yes. And then I'm like, oh, it's live. And I didn't even look at the songs. I should have done that. But out of the new ones on there, that, in my opinion, like you, that would be the best one. And it's typical Wasp, just good stuff. And my
Yeah.
brother Chris was a huge Wasp fan, so that's how I got into Wasp was
I,
through Chris.
yep. I remember Chris being a big Wasp fan. I don't remember if he had a shirt or what the hell or something, but I knew that he was a Wasp fan for some reason. I don't know. Maybe you told me that before, a long, long time ago. Anyways, cool. Yeah, it's anytime I can talk about Wasp, they're good stuff. At least their first 4 or 5 albums are really good, and after that, I kind of fell off, and I'm trying to get back into them now. But anyways, we'll go on to number 7 for Cindy. What do you got?
Well, I'm gonna bring it down a little bit. We've rocked pretty hard up to this point, so I'm gonna bring it down. When I looked at the releases, I saw White Lion had album out in '87, and I loved that album that came out, and I listened to it quite a bit. I used to ride around with Donna Nelson now, and we listened to White Lion quite a bit. Um, All You Need Is Rock and Roll. I thought of picking that one just because it rocks out. It's
Yep.
such a good guitar on there. But,
Mhm.
I thought When the Children Cry, I need to pick that one. Just get a ballad in there. Let's tame her down a little bit. And it is just such a powerful, good ballad. And I had to pick that one. I had no choice.
I hear you. Totally love that song. I remember that album Pride that came out. It's kind of funny. We're going to see White Lion and Slaughter tomorrow in Fargo. They're playing at the Rib
Nice.
Fest. It's called Mike Tramp's White Lion because I don't think Vito Bratta is part of it, but and I wish he was because he is such an underrated guitar player. He is so good. Like all the stuff they do, all the stuff he does is really catchy. And, he's kind of similar to an Eddie Van Halen. He just a single guitar player, not just the only guy in the band, and there's never a moment where he doesn't have a fill in there or something. There's never a downtime in his guitar, so it's awesome. Awesome pick. Very very good pick. Okay, seven for me is from a band called Keel, and it's off their 1987 self-titled album. And the song I picked, I mean, I could have picked several because I've talked about this album before. I love this album. This should have made them huge, should have, but it didn't. And the song I picked is "I Said the Wrong Thing to the Right Girl," and such a catchy freaking song. Um, the whole album, like I said, I could have picked numerous songs off that album, but I this one just catches me, and it's super um, clever. I like that. I like the title. I said the wrong thing to the right girl. Uh, just a great song. The words are good. I'm not going to bore you with a whole bunch of words. There's a couple songs that I do want to read some lyrics for, so I'll do that on those. But if you haven't heard the Keel self-titled debut that came out in 1987, it is fan freaking tastic. So give it a listen.
When I saw you had that pick, I first saw Keel and I'm like, oh my God, yes. Like Keel, Axe, and Kick Axe.
Yep.
I kind of associate those three bands together for some reason, and I was excited. And I remember that song, but until you picked it, I actually forgot about that song. And I'm like, how the heck could I forget about that song? It's so good and catchy.
Yeah, super catchy. I mean, on that album, there's like Somebody's Waiting is awesome. United Nations is awesome. Cherry Lane is awesome. I mean, there's so many good songs on that album. Um, and like I said, well, the thing that everybody says is if you're on MCA, pretty much they fucking it's like the Musician Cemetery Academy or something that somebody calls it or whatever. I don't remember what they called it, but it's funny. Basically, they killed any band that was on their fucking label. They just didn't promote them or whatever and do the right thing by them. So they didn't stand a chance. But should if you're out there and you're listening to us and listen to this show, give that album a try. It's so good. I mean, their Right to Rock was awesome. Final Frontier was awesome. This one was awesome. I mean, they're just a really kick-ass band, and he's still out there doing something. Did you know he played this by 5 years ago, maybe more. He played in Candu, North Dakota for some they were doing some fundraiser for somebody who got killed or something or another. I don't know, but he said, "Oh yeah, I'll be back." He hasn't been back, but I was like, my cousins told me about it. I'm like, you got to let a guy like me know when shit like that happens. Because if Keel is playing fucking Candu, North Dakota, population 400 or 500 or whatever it is, I need to know that. But so I missed that. But yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Those smaller venues like that, that is where you get a good chance to meet the artists too. Like Stephen Piercy came to Newton, North Carolina, just a little venue, maybe 500 people. And that's how you get to meet them because you have access and people don't watch like they do in the big venues.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, we have a little club here in Minot called the Original. I'm sure you know about that. We've seen quite a few good bands out of there. We've seen Faster Pussycat was probably one of the last ones we've seen there. Seen Hinder, we've seen Pop Evil, we've seen LA Guns, we've seen Warrant. I mean, so they get some pretty good names come through there once in a while. So yeah, I'm happy for that. Oh, okay, we are on number 6. What do you got, Cindy?
Well, I saw Dirty Looks had an album out, and I love Dirty Looks. Not a lot of people know about him unless you're a metalhead.
Yeah,
And I saw the album, I Want More, and I'm like, I don't know if how did I not know about this album? Like, really? And
yeah,
then I looked at the songs on there and I saw Oh Ruby, and I'm like, oh, heck yeah. um, that is just a upbeat song and it rocks out and Ruby, Ruby Red. I mean, it talks about Ruby. Ruby's got class when she shakes her ass. It is just the greatest song. And the singer's voice reminds me a lot of Bon Scott's voice. So I think that's the reason why I like Dirty Look so much.
yeah. I still remember the first time I heard Dirty Looks, and I was on my way. I was walking past the lunch, the cafeteria in the school, going up to shop class, and Larry Delmer had a goddamn boombox, and he had it cranked on there. I'm like, who the hell is that? He goes, Dirty Looks. You should check it out. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to. And so then I went out and grabbed it, and I was like, holy shit, is this good? But that was cool from The Wire, which is where I heard Oh Ruby, and I didn't know about this version of that song either on the one before that. So good pick. You snuck that one in because that's next 88 is when Cool from the Wire come out. And I don't know that I would have picked Oh Ruby. I love that song, but I might have picked a different one, which will come up on 1988. So I'm just going to save that as a teaser, but excellent pick. I fucking love Dirty Looks. I should have worn my Dirty Looks shirt. Okay, great pick. I love talking about Dirty Looks. And you're right. They should have been bigger. They should there's so many of these bands that should have gotten so much bigger, and it just sucks because I mean, Dirty Looks, I mean, like their Cool from the Wire album came out in '88, so they were right there. 2 years earlier, that album drops, and they would have probably gotten a lot bigger, I think.
I
Um,
agree with
yeah. So on to my number six, I got a band called The Cult, and this is the song off of Electric. I got to see The Cult here 2 or 3 years ago. My buddy and I, Justin, we actually drove to Illinois to go see a band called the Nixons, who came out. They were a '90s band, but we both just kind of really, really got into that band, and they're from Oklahoma, so we couldn't ever get to see them because they kind of reunited and they only played down there. So we're like, okay, we're gonna drive to Minneapolis, or I mean to Illinois. Well, it just so happens, I don't remember how it was. I saw something and I said the Cult is going to be, and I was always wanted to see the Cult, and I seen a pop up on Facebook or something that they're going to be in Minneapolis, and I looked at the date. Well, here it was the day before we're going to see the Nixons in Illinois. So I'm like, fucking hey, let's go a day early. Let's go stop in Minneapolis to see the Cult on the way there, and then we'll go there. And they were awesome. They're really, really, really good. Um, they're a little standoffish. Tried to chat him up outside. One of the guys was out having a cigarette and tried to chat him up, and he just kind of fucking shrugged us off, but whatever. Anyways, the song I picked is Little Devil. And I absolutely love this guitar riff on this song. It's one of my favorites. It's just a cool ass song. The whole album just kicks ass. And it's funny. This is the album. The first time I ever heard these guys was on this album, and I don't remember who I heard it from or what. But man, am I glad I did, because that album is so good. And then they came out with Sonic Temple, which is really good. This is my favorite Cult album, and Little Devil is probably my favorite Cult song.
you talk about that guitar riff on there, and that is spot on. I'm surprised that that guitar riff didn't get more attention. I don't know if that's the phrase I'm looking for, but that is awesome. When because I re-listened to that song too, and I was just like, yes, that guitar riff, and that and Baker Street by Jerry Rafferty with the saxophone and then the guitar riff at the end.
Hmm.
Oh my word, I could just that's all I need to listen to from both songs.
Yep. It's funny because I mean, there's other songs that have riffs similar to that. Matter of fact, on Faster Pussycat's debut, which may make an appearance on this list as well. So just throwing that out there. Um, they have a song called Ship Rolled In, and it's so Little Devil, and that if you listen to Ship Rolls In, it's very similar to that. So it's kind of neat. And what do you know? They both came out the same year. So that is my number six. We will move on to number five with Cindy.
When I saw the Aerosmith release Permanent Vacation, that was such a huge album. Like something I listened to that album over and over again. I struggled with this one. Maybe you catch me on a different day. My pick changes.
Right?
I thought of bringing it down again with Angel, and that is such a good song. But
Yep.
I don't know. There's something about Ragdoll. A hot tramp, get it while it's easy. I don't know. It's such a good song, and I think it's the memories that it brings back. I don't know. I had to go with Ragdoll. Such a great song.
It's funny. We just did an episode where we pitted Permanent Vacation against Pump. And so I re-listened to both albums. I hadn't listened to them in many, many years. And I Ragdoll, so we'd go through each song and we'd rank them, 1 to 10, whatever. And and I gave that song a 10, and Chris gave it like a 7, and I'm like, a 7? Are you fucking kidding me? And he goes, yeah, I don't know. He goes, it's good. And I said, the thing about it that's cool as that it's different. It's not your just three chords and whatever. It's got a different swing beat to it, and it just makes you want to, you know, bob your head. I said there, it's just super freaking catchy. I said I can't not give that a 10. So great pick. Love that album, and I can't believe I didn't put something off that album on my list. Whoops, spoiler alert. Um, anyways, it's so good. Great, great, great pick. Love that album. Okay, number 5 for me is by Dokken. They came out with an album called Back for the Attack. And I've always been kind of a Dokken guy. And it goes back to Mitch and Jeff Galseth got me into these guys on Tooth and Nail. And I fell in love with the way George Lynch plays guitar. He's just got these off notes that he plays that just make the song sound evil. And this is another great song. Kiss of Death is the name of the song that I picked. This song I didn't know because I didn't. It's funny. I can sing along with this goddamn song, but did I know what it was about? Nope. Didn't know what it was about. So I was doing research on it for this thing, and it's all about AIDS. So 87 is kind of when AIDS hit, and it became a big thing. And so the whole song is kind of about that. And I'm going to read a little thing off of it. What Don Dokken said. He said, the song came together. I wrote that right after I heard about AIDS. He said, my uncle actually came down with AIDS. He died of AIDS. People were talking about AIDS, and when it first came out, it was more of a gay thing. So we were like, we're not going to get it. We're not gay. It's a homosexual disease. And it took a few years for people to realize that anybody could get it. Mick Brown made a comment one night. I said, you should be more careful about what you're doing. Use a condom. And he said something to the effect, I'm not going to get AIDS. I only sleep with good looking chicks. And I said, I don't think the disease cares what your person looks like, Mick. I thought it was kind of a stupid thing to say. He said, so it was about being on the road and one night stands. So it's all, and I remember this, and I'm sure you do, Cindy, when that came out, it was freaky, you know, and I'm not afraid to admit, I bought into the hype. I'm like, holy shit. I didn't want to use a public restroom. I was afraid it's on a toilet seat, so it was really freaky when it first came out. So it's kind of cool, you do this research into some of these songs, and I've always loved that song. I mean, there's several songs on that album I could have picked, but I just love the way this one kicks into. The guitars are really awesome on this song. And yeah, I found out it's about AIDS, and I've been singing along to it for years. So weird.
I I'm a huge Dokken fan myself, and it was probably 3 years ago when I heard what the song was actually about. Like you, I had no idea.
Yeah,
Then again, I was in college until I figured out what afternoon delight was, but we won't go there. But um, like you though, we lived through that when it became
right.
known, and like we were all unaware. And let's just say a lot of people I know went and got tested, and I was shocked when I heard, because like you, I thought it was just a homosexual disease thing. It's like, well, I got nothing to worry about, and
Yeah.
I'm not a guy. It seems,
Yep.
and once it came out that this is for anybody, it's a sexual thing for anybody. I know a lot of people who went and got tested. Thank God.
Right.
Peace of
Right.
mind and protect yourself.
So, Yeah, it was a scary deal back in the day. Um, so to find out that song's written about that, I was kind of like, oh, I didn't even know. And I was, you can sing along, but not comprehend what you're saying. You just singing the words that they're saying. Yeah, and I did that for years, didn't even know. So, but talking, uh, Kiss of Death, go check it out. It's awesome. You're number four.
Okay. Ace Frehley had an album out that year, and I bought it. Huge Kiss fan. They're probably in my top three, top five, depending on my mood. Love Ace Frehley. Loved Rocket Ride when it came out. I mean, what a fun song. But I picked off his 87 album, I picked Rock Soldiers. And there are a lot of good songs on that. And kind of like your Kiss of Death thing, I knew what the song was about, and it had such a deep meaning. It's about his near fatal wreck while drunk driving. And I just get goosebumps every time he sings this lyric. And I've saw him twice in the last 5 years. And when he sings, if the devil wants to play his card game now, he's going to have to play without an ace in his deck.
Yep.
That just makes my hair stand up and it gives me goosebumps. And each time he is saying that lyric live, the crowd just goes wild because Ace is still with us. Thank God.
Yep. I absolutely loved when I seen this on your list because I that's my favorite Ace Frehley song. I love that song, and like you, I think the lyrics are fantastic. It's just a straight ahead rocker. I I I love it. So I'm glad you picked it, and because I didn't see when I was doing my research what came out that year, for some reason I didn't see that one. So great pick. So let's see here. Number four for me would be from Whitesnake's self-titled debut, probably their best album they've ever done. And there's been a lot of talk about this lately. I've been watching like The Guru and stuff, and basically fucking had these great guys record the album and then kicked them all out and hired new people, which is so stupid to tour. John Sykes is one of them that was let go. But anyways, the song I picked is "Still of the Night," and this song is just huge. It's just it's so rocking when he just kicks in. Still at night, I hear the wolves are howling. Oh my god, I just get goosebumps because it's so goddamn good, and it's heavy and it's rocking. I love it. This one got up to number 19 on the mainstream rock chart, and I can't believe it didn't even go higher. It was their first single off that album, and everybody who knows anything about this music knows that song or knows this album. Uh, lots of other songs on there. Is This Love? There's so many off there. But go out, if you haven't heard it, check it out. White Snake, Still of the Night, probably the best White Snake album out there. I like some of the old stuff. I like Slide It In. That's a great album. I love that one. But the older than Slide It In, I don't really know. But anyways, that's my pick at number four. So
Yeah, White Snake was so huge. Everybody, like when Poison came out with Look What the Cat Dragged In, everybody was like, you drive around Roulette Saturday night and you'd hear that or that White Snake album you're talking about. And Still the Night Rocks with the drums with, I love that.
such a good song. So yeah, hey, shit, we're to our top three. Top three. And you're gonna start us off with number three from you.
I had to do it. Catch me on another day. This could jump up to number two, but whatever, it doesn't matter. Bathroom Wall by Faster Pussycat. Faster Pussycat is one of my favorite bands. I'm actually going to see them in Ohio this month. But Bathroom Wall, it's just a fun song. And, you had 8675309 with Jenny, got the number off the wall. I think you had Fast Times at Ridgemount High that was released some years earlier, and you saw the phone numbers in the baseball dugout when the girl does the deed for the first time. Like that was a big thing back in the 70s and 80s, was leaving that number on the wall. And
Yeah.
so many people found hookups and love through the bathroom wall. And it's just I had to pick it. That is probably one of my favorite. That and House of Pain. My top two favorite faster Pussycat songs.
Very good pick. I can't believe I had. I'm just going to talk about this other song too, since we're here, and I forgot to put it on my list because I'm an idiot. But Bathroom Wall, I remember this album very distinctly, and one of the times I remember is I was good friends with Gary Beater, and his family owned the theater, the Beater Theater. Yeah. Anyways, um, we would go up there and party on the weekends. After the show had ended, we'd stay up there till whatever time, and then kind of clean up before we left. And we sat one night, and they list a number on in that song, and we tried to figure out what they said, and tried to call that number 100 times, but we could never get it. So, but anyways, great pick. But a song I should have included on my list, which I did not, is Babylon. Fucking A. I mean, Pussycat. Fuck. Everybody knows that. And it's such a catchy song. It's almost the first. Well, I don't know if it's the first because I don't know what year I'm the Man came out, or Fight for Your Right. But it's almost kind of a rap rock song, but it's really freaking catchy and good, and the lyrics are fun. And oh my God, I can't believe I didn't put that on my list. God damn it. Oh well. Anyways, good pick, Cindy. Um, Number three for me is from a band. It's not a very well-known band. Matter of fact, they finally got them back, or finally got them on Apple Music. I've been trying to find their CD, and I've told this story many times. I was going to buy it online off eBay, and I think at the time it was like $80. And I'm like, fuck it, I can't spend $80 on a CD. And but this CD is very hard to find. And then, probably 6 months later, I'm thinking, God damn it, they don't have it on Apple Music. Fuck, I'm gonna go look at that one on eBay. When I looked at it, it was $175. I was like, are you shitting me? God damn it. So I was kind of pissed off that I didn't pay the $80, and I still don't own this thing to this day. And there's one of our guys that's in from Canada up in Winnipeg that's in our group, and I mentioned that because he's got all kinds of rare vinyl, like I mean, bands I've never heard of, and it's like '80s stuff. So there's so much more music out there that obviously I don't know. But I just mentioned, hey, if you're ever out there and you find a Tough Luck album, I would be very interested. He sends back a picture of the fucking album, and he goes, oh, like this one? And I was like, you're an asshole. I said, hey, when you come down for White Lion, maybe you want to bring it with and leave it for an extended stay. And he goes, tariffs are too high. So it was kind of funny. But the song I picked is Take It or Leave It, Tough Luck. If you haven't checked them out, they're really cool. Probably my all-time favorite guitar solo. It's right up there anyway. Top five is in this song. The members of the band are Todd Kelly on drums. He's excellent. He got a big write-up in a drumming magazine back in the day. They're from Florida. They were huge in Florida. They actually opened for Dokken and Striper back in the day, but they just never caught on. And then they had Dave Scott. He was on guitar, and he is fucking awesome. He's right up there with Nuno and Eddie and George Lynch and all those guys. I mean, if he would have gotten, if they would have done more than well, they did one other album, but it kind of stinks. But if he would have went on and they would have kept that same lineup with those two and Kenny Monroe sing and then James Marino on bass, I think we would all be talking about him in the top 10 guitarists or whatever. He would be on the list, but they just never caught on. And it fucking irritates me to this day because I love that album. Tough Luck, take it or leave it. Go check it out on Apple Music or wherever you can find it. It's great, great 80s stuff.
Do you know how I first heard of that band?
Nope.
I went into the Galseth pharmacy. They owned the Roulette pharmacy and they had a big stand of magazines in there.
I spent a lot.
And Hip Parader and Circus. I would go in. I knew when they were coming out. I would make mom let me take the car, or I'd make mom take me to town so I could get the newest magazine, and I would just read it all in an hour. But in Circus, they had just a small little write-up of them in there. And back then, you couldn't YouTube anything, and I had to wait to hear that. And it was worth the wait.
Awesome. Do you still have it?
The
Cassette or
the no, I think, did I hear it? I think Mitch or somebody in school had it. And
yeah.
Living out in the sticks, we had to go to Minot or Devil's Lake to get anything, and I could never really find it. And there would always then be something that I wanted more than that, so I never did buy it. But I heard it from somebody at school, but I had to wait like months before I could hear it. And now you can just click a button and you got it.
I know it's crazy. And that's, we talk about this fairly often too. That's kind of like back in the day, the reason this music made such an impression is there was work involved. You had to buy the CD, you had a physical hard copy in your hands, you had liner notes that you'd read, and sometimes they had lyrics and they were awesome. Now it's so easy accessible that nobody puts much thought into it. Everything's so instant gratification nowadays that you could, I got thousands of albums in my library. And so you kind of stop doing the work and stop, it used to be a month before you'd get something new, or you'd go to Mitch or you'd go to Jeff and say, hey, you got anything new? I want to trade something. And you trade them one of your cassettes for one of theirs. Sometimes you got a good deal. Sometimes you got a shit deal. But you did that because you wanted something new to listen to, because we didn't, like you and I, we grew up 100 miles from the closest decent town. So yeah, it's just so instant gratification now that everybody's can grab anything at any time. And if it's not on Apple Music, you can still go on YouTube and find it. Somebody uploaded it on there. So yeah, it's crazy. Anyways, that was number 3. Check out Tough Luck, take it or leave it, off their self-titled debut. We're on to number 2. What you got?
Real quick, speaking of needing to get music, I think I had subscriptions to Columbia House and BMG signed up under like 4 different names. Two dude names and 2 girl names. And so you get X number of cassettes for a penny, and then you have to buy one and your agreement's fulfilled.
Yeah.
I had 4 different accounts under each company because I wanted all the music. Anyway.
Isn't it fucking hilarious? We all had that. Yeah. I didn't have 4 accounts, but I definitely did the BMG and the Columbia House at the same time for sure.
My mom actually got mad at me, told me I had to tame it down a little bit because, well, when you're getting music for Johnny Smith at P.O. Box 15 in Milo, something's wrong. But anyway, my number 2 song, and I struggled where to put this, and then I listened to it, and I really jammed out, and it brought back so many memories. All We Are by Warlock. Um, it it just rocks. Warlock never got big, but they were big enough where people knew about them. And I think I read an article that they didn't really want to get any bigger. They were happy with where they were at. And I don't really know a ton of other Warlock songs, but that one is just so catchy, and I just rock out to it every time.
Cool, cool, cool. I know the song very well. We discussed kind of prior. Um, I never got into Warlock. I know Doro is the singer and she's a hot blonde. Other than that, um, I don't know a lot about Warlock, but I do know that song. It does rock. I'm not a huge fan of her voice on that song, but it's still a pretty damn good song. So good pick on that one. And this is where probably that Babylon song should have gone. But instead, at number two, I have Y&T LA Rocks off of the Contagious album. And this song is fucking awesome. And on doing research, I didn't know this. Um, that whole album is so good. If you don't have it, get it because, oh man, it's good. Um, this song was originally called Boys Night Out because they go, Boys Night Out in the city, yeah. And so it was originally called that. Um, but at the same time, Sammy Hagar had a song or something like that. Sammy had a song called Boys Night Out, and then he released it before they released their album. So Geffen, I think they were both on Geffen, made Y&T change the name. So they changed it to LA Rocks. And LA Rocks kind of seems like a cooler name anyway. It rocks. But no, just joking there a little bit. But anyways, if you haven't heard this song, check it out. Like I said, the whole album's good. Y&T, Contagious, boom. That's my number two.
And with YNT, I have never heard a bad YNT song. I just actually listened to Keep On Running the other day, and Summertime Girls. Just I used to work with a guy. He's a big metal head like me, and he's like, "Oh, I can pick a band that you've never heard of." And then he messaged me over YNT, and I'm like, "Ooh, I know YNT. They're great." And they got big, but I'm surprised they didn't get bigger. So
Two.
kind of like some of the other ones we talked about, I think they're very underrated.
Very, very, very. And it's kind of funny because, everybody knows Summertime Girls, but that's not even close to even their best song, in my opinion. It's a good song and it's a fun song, but holy shit, you're right. I mean, I just started getting into them recently because one of the guys in our group is a big Y&T fan. I'm like, okay, Y&T. I know they had that one album that I really liked, and I went out and grabbed that and I listened to it. I'm like, holy shit, this is good. Then I grabbed another album and I listened to that. I'm like, holy shit, this is really good. I was like, they don't write bad songs. They really don't. They're all pretty goddamn solid. They don't really have any real shit that just is like an absolute shit, like Nona. Come on, from Motley Crue. God damn it, like stuff like that. I just like, why do you put that shit on an album? But anyways, yeah, check out Y&T if you get a chance. We're on to our number ones, and I bet people may have guessed what your number one might be. So let's give it to them.
I have to stick with my boys. These boys will always be my favorites. Obviously, they're on my arm. I used to have my license plates used to say M Crew. My wall was totally Motley Crue. My bedroom walls, you could not even see what color of paint was on my walls. It was Motley Crue. So I have to pick Motley Crue. Now, I could pick some of the mainstream ones, and years ago I would have, but I just get worn out with what mainstream does to a song.
Right.
So I went with more of a filler on that. And I could pick any song off that album, but I went with You're All I Need. Now it comes off sounding like this sweet love song ballad, and for the longest time I thought it was. You got some piano in there. And then I read the words, and it's not a sweet love song. It's about a guy who actually kills his girlfriend. You're all I need, make you only mine. So I set you free. I had to take your life. And he talks about how he killed her and everything. And, you know, when you think about it, it is probably, not probably, it is pretty sick. But only Nikki Sixx could write something just beautiful that people are going to think is so romantic and turn it into a
Song about
song about killing his girl. But I had to pick Motley Crue, and I love that song regardless of what it's about.
I 100% agree with you. I and we kind of talked about this a little bit before we started, and I said I picked Girls, Girls, Girls just because if I really had to pick my favorite song on there, it might be the same one you picked. Um, because of that reason, because the lyrics are just kind of morbid, but good. God damn, that's a good written song. So yeah, that's a great, great song. I think it, like you said, back in the day, Wild Side and Girls, 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 and um, 5 Years Dead and shit like that would have probably been up there. But as you age and you kind of get your mind develops and you get a little more substance, that song has substance, and it is just kick ass. So good pick. I love that pick. Boom. We're gonna give that one of these. If I can get it going. There it is. And number one for me, 1987. Come on, everybody knows what came out in 1987. Maybe the greatest debut album of all time. It's up there in the top five for sure. And that is Guns N' Roses' Appetite for Destruction. And like we just talked about on Motley Crue, I could have picked Welcome to the Jungle. I kind of wanted to pick Mr. Brownstone, but Cindy had that on her list right away. So I was like, oh, okay, there's this other song that I really like. But, could have picked Sweet Child of Mine, Paradise City, what the fuck's the name of that song? You're Out to Get Me. And I mean, you could have picked anything because it was so fucking good. My Michelle, great song. I Think About You, God, goddamn. No, but I went with Rocket Queen. You know why? Because fucking Axel fucked a girl in the studio for hours just to try to get those sounds in the song. I think and it was goddamn Steven Adler's girlfriend. That is rock and roll right there to the max. Um, Great, great song, and it's the last song. And I think we did an album where we did, or an episode where we talked about album closers, and there was three of us. All three of us picked that as the best closing song on an album, and it is. It is fucking awesome. I love that song, and after so many years of hearing "Welcome to the Jungle" and all those big hits, yes, they're fucking great, but this is just as good, and it could have been a hit, but it probably wouldn't have been okay on radio. So that's why I picked it. Rocket Queen, Guns N' Roses, Appetite for Destruction, killer album. That's it.
Yeah, Appetite for Destruction, when that came out, I got it on cassette.
Of course.
And I actually I actually wore it out because I just listened to it over and over and over. And I think mom was going to rugby, and I'm like, yeah, I gotta hop in with you. I gotta go to Pabida. And she's like, don't you already have that? And I'm like, I wore it out. Like I listened to it that much. And Rocket Queen, like you talk about, you could pick Welcome to Jungle, Sweet Child of Mine, and those were so good. I just heard them so much, but Rocket Queen, Mr. Brownstone, My Michelle, you don't hear those a ton. And you are right, Axel's vocals on that is amazing.
Yeah, I mean, just we've talked about it numerous times, not you and I, but like on this channel. And when you first heard that album, when he does the Mr. Brownstone, and he's got that deep voice, and then all of a sudden he's screaming. You're thinking it's two different fucking people, but it's actually just him. And they, I kind of that album just like was so good, and then they came out with Use Your Illusion, and that's been talked about on these between our in our community again. That I think, and Guru was onto it. He goes, you could have taken that two albums, taken the best songs off of each one, and made one killer album, and then it would have been like Appetite two. But instead, the Use Your Illusions just weren't Appetite, and it's just one of those albums that just is so good. And I wore mine out. I know Tim Belgard, I think, went through two or three cassettes. I mean, he played the shit out of that. So yeah, and if there's anybody, I highly doubt that there's anybody watching this show that hasn't heard that album. But if there is, go get the fucking thing because it's amazing. I've tried to get my kid into it, but he thinks it's okay. He's more into rap crap. So, anyways, yeah, great list by both of us. And a lot of times what I'll do is I kind of already did this on my. You have an Android, right?
Yes.
Yep. So what I do in Apple Music is I make a list of mine and yours, and then I usually try to include those in the comments or in the description, so that people, if you like them and you have a Apple, you could click on that and save it right into your music. If you have an Android, you'd have to do the work yourself because I don't have an Android. But got any last words? What are you doing again? You got a publishing deal and
Yep.
health coach?
Work for a publishing company and a health coach. So if anybody wants to get healthy or if you want to write a book, let me know or refer. With both industries, a lot of people don't know how to get healthy. They want to, but they don't know. And when I was unhealthy, I just simply did not know how to do it. And there were a lot of things that I was doing that I thought was right that wasn't. And with books, a lot of people have something that they want to say or something that they want to write about, but they just don't know what to do or how to go about it. Even self-publishers, I applaud those who self-publish, and there's nothing at all wrong with that. But a lot of them just have this book, now what? They don't know how to market it. And when you have a publishing house behind you, it's easier to get in the door of a bookstore or any store. And the publishing house will do a lot of the marketing and release to the right outlets for you too. So
Cool.
I've signed up a couple authors, and just seeing the excitement when somebody gets healthy, and seeing the excitement of somebody knowing that their product is going to get printed and end up on a bookshelf. It's fun to see that excitement in people. And I've written a book myself. It's in the process of being published. So I will be published in a few weeks too. Figured I better, if I want others to be published and encourage them, I should go through the process myself.
Right. That's awesome. Well, it's good to hear. Well, when you come out, we'll, um, by the time we're done with these years, maybe we'll have something good to talk about, and you can hold it up and all that stuff. So, and even if we're not doing that, if you want to come on and just talk about it, and we can do that too. So, I really appreciate you being on. It was good kind of catching up. I'm glad you're doing what you're doing. It looks like you're having a lot of fun and living the life and getting out there and doing stuff. And I applaud you for doing that. Getting out of North Dakota is huge. That's it for this week's Rock Resurgence Radio. Keep the volume cranked, the fist pumping, and the spirit of rock and roll alive. We'll be back next week with more Sonic Mayhem. Until then, stay loud, stay proud, and keep fucking rocking.